There we go. All right, so this is drop 1 on Canyon Network. I am getting a little bit of reverb from you, MD, I believe. I hear my own voice coming back at me slightly. But no sound in this, so you're just going to hear us talking over the top of it. First thing we noticed, we've got ER large lasers coming out of EON Synergy. I think that was EON Synergy. They are up on the northern part of the map by Sigma, and then Russian Jade Falcon coming in from the south side, Gamma side. Da Red comes in early on, really just tries to scout out around the corner from Kappa. He gets across Kappa and really gets an early scout over there. Kind of up against the two light mechs here. They put up a UAV, so they see him there, but they know there's no heavy push at least coming at them in the meantime. And then, of course, the ER large lasers coming up over the top, shoot that UAV down.
Yeah, this is a surprisingly aggressive play, I think, at Kappa. I mean, Canyon Network, obviously, very familiar with it from last year's World Championships. You know, the meta has changed, the mechs have changed, but the hard Kappa push we saw a couple times last year. This isn't necessarily a hard Kappa push, but definitely aggressive movement by both teams towards that Kappa direction, which is a little unusual. I think there's some better places on the map to set up than what they chose.
Absolutely. So I'm not a huge fan of that Sigma to Kappa Valley, and it seems like EON Synergy just kind of backed themselves up into that corner. Some aggression from RJF starts pushing them even further back, and you see EON Synergy just really ball up. At the same time, we've got a movement then from a couple range mechs around Epsilon corner. I believe that's a Summoner and a Hunchback 2C around Epsilon side over here. I can't see my mouse, but they're putting some shots in on the backside of these mechs.
Yeah, they're getting
really
some backfield PPC shots there.
So that Supernova is forced to kind of expose himself to prevent himself from getting shot in the back by those PPCs. And then a lot of the EON Synergy mechs are starting to get forced into the low ground. Now, while that's happening, the percentages aren't too bad on EON Synergy, and they've actually traded back into RJF fairly well, but positioning-wise, it's really not looking too good in terms of positioning for EON. But RJF starts getting really aggressive. They start pushing up. They're not going to squander this opportunity that they have of getting EON put down low here. And one comment I had is the strikes in this game, the airstrikes seem really on point.
Yeah.
Fantastic strikes. But then we got the light mechs with the machine guns coming in on the backfield. You can see them working on the backside there. Those machine guns do quite a bit of damage when they have open components. Buria,
yeah, just picked up the first kill on the Supernova there with those machine guns. And that's an interesting thing that if you look at the decks brought in this game, EON Synergy with 2 fire starters running either medium lasers or ER medium lasers.
That strike.
To tell.
That strike is on point right there. That was a beautiful strike.
But then you've got 2 machine gun cheetahs, machine guns and clan medium lasers on these 2 cheetahs, and they are devastating in this game.
Absolutely. If the dice rolls are in your favor and you get some lucky crits with those machine guns, you really start taking components out very quick. Self-destruct there by Elysium. I think we had a self-destruct by RJF Volkodev earlier on as well, but they've already killed 3 on the EON Synergy side, and you can see how low those mechs are starting to get. They're just keeping the pressure on and doing some fantastic work. Lizzie in the Supernova overheats. 4 mechs remaining on EON Synergy. They get in there and they take out Igor with getting the leg on him. He was in the Firestarter.
Look at the damages that RJF has. I mean, EON was putting out a ton of damage, but the positioning, like you said, was just not ideal, to say the least. I mean, really backed up into the canyon, kind of surrounded by RJF with the high ground, and that cost EON this match.
Just comparing the 2 sets of lights, you got the Firestarter S's, I believe they're rolling ER medium lasers, versus the Arctic Cheetahs, who have the plethora of machine guns at their disposal. RGF basically bringing it into that close-range brawl and bringing those machine guns to bear, and they did a fantastic job playing really to their strengths, getting in aggressive, surrounding them, and just getting those lights in on the backfield, starting to shred them up while they scattered around in the low grounds. The Firestarter S's seem like they're a little bit more tuned for a little bit more of a standoff play, getting those ER meads downfield, doing a little bit of poke, and you know, doing what they can with that. But they kind of were robbed of that opportunity. Now Igor's still pulling 490 in that Firestarter S, but you can see Burya 678 in the Arctic Cheetah. Quite a bit of damage, and picking up 2 kills as well. Pelmashek only 254, but Burya definitely getting in there and doing quite a bit of work. And of course those 2 kills, but damage across the board from pretty much everybody pretty decent. But of course RJF just picking it up just that much more. So that was drop 1. What an exciting drop. RJF picking up the win in drop 1, but then of course we head into drop 2. Let me get to the right timestamp here.
Yeah, a little bit of an upset there. Nothing against RJF, very good team. EON Synergy, if you remember, was the 2nd place finisher last year in the 2016 World Championships. They're quite a good team.
Absolutely. Just trying to get drop 2 synchronized here.
The beef, I do not have my shoes with me, but this is not previously recorded. The matches are. What we're saying is not.
Having issues getting you to load drop 2 for some reason. Let's try it again.
Yeah, a little bit of technical difficulties here. Trying something new with these previous match replays.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if we got it this time. 525.
Hey, bud. There we go.
I got you with me?
You got me with you.
All right, let's bring it up. So this is drop 2 on Canyon Network yet again. Of course, they are voting for the map between every drop, but what we seem to find is that teams seem to like to stay on the same map over and over again because they want to refine what they've seen. Not only that, but the team switches up this time, so teams are on opposite sides. EON Synergy is in that southern region, RJF in the northern region. Then, you know, they want to kind of go from what they've seen and how the other teams played, and they want to refine it. And so they're definitely sticking with the Canyon Network, and of course it is a map that they're very familiar with.
So right off the bat, you see something a little different in drop 2 than drop 1. RJF bringing the Supernovas up early, trading early. If you noticed in drop 1, the Supernovas actually wound up pushing up through Theta, and one of them was still at 90-some% when he finally engaged and got EON Synergy pushed back into that canyon, pushed onto him.
All right. Great strike right across that Supernova there, dropping it on top of that RJF Supernova. Once again, the strikes in this were absolutely impressive. Here comes another one coming in. You can see our cameraman just waiting with anticipation, hoping to see that strike come in and land on its target. But some really good back and forth with these airstrikes. Some good trades going out early on here. The Night Gear Legolas down to 79%, but he was able to put a lot of the early damage onto those Supernovas, 83 and 85% respectively. So what we see here, RGF seemingly being extremely aggressive yet again, sweeping across Theta and starting to push EON back into a corner again. It worked for them last match. However, in my opinion, the Gamma to Epsilon corridor is a lot easier to defend than the Kappa to Sigma corridor. The terrain, well, it still dips down. It's a little bit shallower and allows for a lot more sight lines and a lot more opportunities to really back up and get people
fact.
firing.
That's not an opinion.
So EON Synergy kind of backing up and using this terrain now to their advantage. RJF doing a split push into him here. We got the light mechs for RJF in the backfield. You can't really see them very well, but they're far back to the right. And so we've got a big push up and over from RJF. They score the first kill on the Supernova and as they start their push. But it seems like the light mechs come in a little bit too soon here. Burya jumps in before anybody and gets legged and immediately brought down by main body as a legged Pelmashek moves in and gets taken out as well. So 2 quick kills on the Arctic Cheetahs against RJF. And the whole time that was happening, the rest of the RJF mechs did not have line of sight because of this little bend that you see underneath Elysium there. That terrain, that geography alone took so much firepower out of that fight. Those lights came a little too soon. I don't know if they were pressured into going or what, but essentially those two Arctic Cheetahs were wasted, and they were brought down extremely quickly, and EON Synergy quickly punishing them and throwing this match in their favor. Now, there's still a lot of damage that has been dealt to EON Synergy. Lizzie there getting shot in the back by that Huntsman as well as the Summoner. He gets taken out, but only 3 mechs remaining for RJF. One of them is an extremely damaged Summoner who's right in the middle of the pack, getting shredded down. Everybody clearly running at heat cap right now, but in a great airstrike as well, right into the 2 RJF members that were coming to help him out, and only 2 left. The Summoner, the most healthy out of all of them. But EON Synergy at this point just has to clean up, and with a 91% Firestarter S with Da Red, he could have probably taken out both of those mechs all by himself. So RJF pushing aggressively over that D5 side. I don't even know what it's called this anymore. They changed it on me, but
like the bridge side or something.
Essentially that Epsilon to Gamma corridor, hard push, but then that geography. EON Synergy smartly tucking in underneath the bridge. Take out those lights first. Do not let them do what they did to you last drop, and then immediately turn around and start handling those incoming mechs. Just very good.
Yeah, those lights were vaporized, which is the right thing to do, right? You turn around, you kill them as quickly as possible. Even if you're getting shot in the back, you just got to take them down as quick as possible and then turn right back around and engage. They were just that much more fortunate that RJF didn't have the firing angles when they turned around to deal with the lights. I mean, they got away with it for free, basically.
Absolutely. So we'll go take a look at the score screens here. Very good damage spread coming out of EON Synergy. Pelmashek, who got legged in that light pretty early on, held to 97 damage. Buria 218. Those lights did not carry as hard as they did in drop 1, and I think it showed. If those guys managed to get into the fight a little bit later, who knows how that could have gone for them. But a pretty savage comeback then for EON Synergy. And that, of course, takes it into drop 3. Let's get that started and get to the timestamp here. Looks like we start right away. Let's bring it up. So they've switched sides again. They stayed on Canyon Network one more time. So they're back to the original ones where RJF managed to win in drop 1. Let's see, do they set themselves up similar to how they did it in the last in the first drop? So Da Red once again on that north side sprints across Kappa. His eyes are off to the left, getting some good scouting information. Pelmashek and Buria once again staying passive on the corner. This is almost identical to what we saw in drop 1. Buria puts up that UAV. Da Red takes a couple peeks. The ER large laser streak yet again overhead to take out that UAV. So far, extremely identical. One of the key differences here is a mech that's moved off towards Epsilon side to handle both that Summoner in that Hunchback 2C and just keep them at bay. I believe that's Colonel O'Neill in the Hunchback 2C off on that left side to maintain that Epsilon corner and not allow them to come in on their backsides. We see a lot of these EON Synergy, or the RJF mechs start to push up pretty aggressively to that Kappa corner, still trading in relatively well. In fact, 76% on Colonel O'Neill. He's 1v2ing those mechs, but still at least keeping them from getting in on their backsides, but he's getting a little bit punished on that side. But we see a hard push around Kappa. I think the lights leading the way, getting over the top of the cap point and flushing them out from that corner. So unlike last time, because that Epsilon corner got held down, they didn't get EON Synergy backed into a corner this time. EON Synergy,
and EON therefore can move away, which is the key. They can back out on that side.
They gave them an option to retreat. The 2 mechs on Epsilon corner were not able to turn that corner, and so now they've been able to flush off to a much more manageable position between Epsilon and Sigma. Much easier to defend, in my opinion, than Kappa Sigma. side. So now they're in a little bit better place, and they're able to turn around and start trading back into the approaching RJF. RJF still has them relatively surrounded here, but the two mechs sitting off behind Theta there, the Summoner and the Hunchback 2C, they're not able to really actively trade in. And so EON Synergy is essentially nice strike across Lizzie, though. Great airstrike there. But everything on the left of EON Synergy, they're pretty protected, and they're able to focus a lot of their energy right in front of them. Qbert in the Hunchback 2C down low, just taking a peek around at that Summoner, but really just keeping those guys from being able to swing wide. Definitely playing danger close, though.
It allows EON Synergy to have some flexibility to what's happening in the match. What we saw previously on Drop 1 was EON Synergy trapped in the canyon with mechs on either side of them, literally funneled to a point where they had nowhere to go. By maintaining that back area by Epsilon open, they can then respond to what's happening, adjust and reposition as needed. And that's what we're seeing in this match, is kind of what we expected to see, right? Constant trading, repositioning, except now it's getting towards the end, getting a lot closer in combat.
So we've got those light mechs right up in the face of Lizzie in that Supernova. I think they were hoping for some lucky crits, but he was able to get out relatively unscathed. 3 very hurt mechs for RJF, and they're going to start falling relatively quick. Now Funky Cat, with those ER large lasers, backs up to a very strategic position and is able to just sit here and wail on these guys as they approach. So RJF has a lead on the kills. Funky Cat gets hit by a pretty solid airstrike there, but they're able to start shredding in some of these RJF mechs as they approach, and EON Synergy, well, pretty banged up, is actually in a relatively good position here. Those light mechs for RJF getting in on Igor in that Firestarter S. They get the leg on him. That is a very key kill there for RJF, and then they're going to move up and get on Zelaglock in the Summoner. Things looking a little bit better for RJF. They could be able to pull it off here, especially how 3 of the mechs for EON Synergy incredibly hurt, except for Funky Cat sitting back in the ER
off
large.
In the distant, just firing away.
Now here's a very key happening. We've got a legged light, Pelmashek, right down there in the valley. He has to pick a direction to go, and he can't really decide because they have now gotten themselves surrounded. Zelaglock, I believe, has no weapons at this point. Colonel O'Neill is essentially one shot, but has weapons as well. And Colonel O'Neill grabs, takes a shot in on the Summoner, takes him out. But this Funky Cat just doing some work. Nick Dreary trying to get up there to finish him off. If he can kill that Supernova, they could still be able to pull this off. Oh, bad miss there. Nick Dreary just doing whatever he can against Funky Cat. 56% for that Supernova. Nick doing as much spreading as possible, but he is one-shot CT. Pelmashek still lagged. Relatively fresh except for the leg. Or at least fresh enough. Zelaglock, no weapons, sitting on the cap point. But there, the Summoner goes down, and the Supernova is now able to get his focus on Pelmashek as he approaches Colonel O'Neill. Colonel O'Neill has weapons, but is one touch, and Pelmashek is closing in on him. But a lot of easy burns here.
That Supernova just firing away.
So Pelmashek uses that cover to keep himself away from those ER large lasers. Well, Zelaglock is in the background, capping Theta unopposed, and we have a little bit of a standoff here. The ER medium and machine guns just essentially trying to poke at that Supernova. If he could land a kill on the Supernova, he might be able to 1-2 punch both Colonel O'Neill and the Supernova, but he's just trying to get whatever he can without getting himself killed. Very careful play by Pelmashek. Just doing everything in his power. This is really impressive. Just a legged Arctic Cheetah, not giving up, doing everything in his power, even though the odds are stacked against him. It's a very, very solid effort by Pelmashek.
Yeah, just lost an arm there.
But Colonel O'Neill keeping himself safe as well, not over pushing, and just playing very smart, allowing Funky Cat to really do a lot of the work. Pelmashek going to try and take a shot there, getting some machine gun fire in on Colonel O'Neill, but no lucky crits, and Colonel O'Neill lives through it, and there he goes. So EON Synergy takes the game 2-1 in a very exciting drop 3. Look at how hurt those 3 mechs are. Both of them in the red, 34%, 45%, and 43%. That was incredibly close. Colonel O'Neill going 1v2 against the Summoner and the Hunchback 2C, pulling 746 and 4 kills. But really, Funky Cat backing up into that strategic position, pulling 4 kills, 474. I think that was huge.
Yeah, Funky Cat sitting back there, basically hanging back on that rock that forced RJF to either ignore him and get shredded by a 6 ER large supernova, or push up across that big open space while you have Colonel O'Neill in the background of them just firing away. That's basically the difference maker right there. Having a mech on either side of RJF was what won that game for him. Having Funky Cat back there was huge.
Definitely. Well, that was